There is a clock you have never seen. It does not measure hours or days, it measures something far older. And if you are between 55 and 75 years old, that clock has just entered its final phase. Not the end of your life, the beginning of why you came. Most people your age are told the same story. Your best years are behind you. Slow down, step aside, let the younger ones lead. But something in you has never accepted that story. Something in you knows, has always known, that the most important thing you came to do hasn't happened yet. That knowing is not delusion. It is memory breaking through. Thoth, in the halls of Amenti, spoke of a specific kind of soul. Not souls who incarnate randomly across time. Souls who wait, who choose their entry point with precision, who arrive at the exact moment when one age is dying and another is struggling to be born. He called them the lighthouse souls. Not because they seek attention, but because their function is to remain steady while everything around them churns in chaos. A lighthouse does not chase ships, it stands, it shines, and those who are lost find their way because it refused to move. If you were born between 1950 and 1970, you did not arrive to have a normal life. You arrived to be a point of stability during the most unstable transition in recorded human history. And the reason you felt so different your whole life, too deep, too intense, too questioning, is because you were never designed to fit. You were designed to anchor. Let me tell you about Margaret, 67 years old, retired school teacher from a small town in Ohio. For 40 years she taught third grade, loved by her students, respected by colleagues. A quiet life by any external measure. But inside, Margaret carried something she never spoke about. A persistent feeling that something else was supposed to happen. That teaching, as meaningful as it was, wasn't the real reason she was here. She dismissed it for decades, told herself she was being ungrateful, told herself this was just ego, wanting to feel special, but the feeling never left. After retirement, it got stronger. She would wake at 3 a.m. with a weight on her chest. Not anxiety exactly, more like urgency, something unfinished, something waiting. 6 months ago, Margaret found teachings about soul missions and incarnation timing, and for the first time in 67 years, something clicked. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't ungrateful. She was remembering. Margaret is now writing, not for publication, not for recognition. She writes what comes through her at 3 a.m., words she doesn't fully understand, patterns she's beginning to recognize. She says she feels, for the first time, like she's finally doing what she came here to do. Not teaching children, anchoring something she can't name. Your story may look different from Margaret's, but the core is the same. You've carried something your whole life that you couldn't explain. A weight, a depth, a sensitivity that others didn't seem to share. You've questioned things that everyone around you accepted without hesitation. Authority, tradition, the way things are supposed to be done. Not because you wanted to cause trouble, but because something in you could see through surfaces to what was actually happening beneath. This is not a personality trait, it is equipment. The Hermetic tradition teaches that souls who incarnate during threshold periods require specific capacities, the ability to feel deeply so they can process collective density, the ability to question so they cannot be swept away by false consensus, the ability to endure isolation so they can hold position when others flee. You were not broken by life. You were forged by it. Every disappointment refined your discernment. Every betrayal dissolved naive trust so that real trust could emerge. Every failure stripped away what was never truly yours. And what remains now, after 55, 60, 65, 70 years of refinement, is something the world desperately needs. Steady presence, not advice, not fixing, not leading. Presence that does not waver when everything around it is falling apart. Here is what Thoth taught about the timing. The veil that separates waking consciousness from soul memory is not equally thick throughout life. In childhood, it is thin. Children often remember things they cannot explain. They see things adults have forgotten how to see. Then the veil thickens. Adolescence, young adulthood, middle age, these are the years of personality development. The soul steps back. The personality learns to navigate the world. The mission waits. But after 50, and accelerating after 60, something reverses. The veil begins to thin again. Not because you are approaching death, because you are approaching the phase of your life when the mission can finally be executed. The personality has learned what it needed to learn. It has built what it needed to build. It has suffered what it needed to suffer. And now it is time for leadership to shift from personality to soul. This is why everything feels different now. Why ambitions that drove you for decades suddenly feel hollow. Why achievements that once mattered now seem irrelevant. Why you find yourself craving depth, authenticity, meaning, and having no patience for anything else. This is not crisis. This is activation. The soul is waking up. And it is waking up now because the timing is precise. The cycle is closing, and you are needed online. There are 3 keys that accelerate this activation, not techniques. Keys. A technique is something you do. A key is something you understand. And once understood, it works automatically. The first key. Your discomfort was navigation, not punishment. Everything that felt wrong in your life, the jobs that didn't fit, the relationships that couldn't go deep enough, the persistent sense of being out of place, none of that was failure. It was navigation. Your soul was steering you away from paths that would have trapped you. Comfort would have been a cage. Fitting in would have been forgetting. Success by conventional measures would have meant losing yourself. The discomfort kept you searching, and the searching kept you awake. Now you can stop interpreting your past as a series of mistakes. It was a series of course corrections, each one bringing you closer to now. The second key, the weight you carry is not yours alone. You've absorbed more than your personal share of pain, family patterns, collective anxiety, generational trauma. You felt it, processed it, carried it, often without knowing why you were so affected by things that didn't seem to affect others. This is because lighthouse souls function as processors. They take in density and transmute it, not through effort, through presence. By staying conscious within heaviness, you alchemize it. What enters you as lead leaves as gold. This is why your life was so heavy. You were not just living, you were transmuting. And every bit of heaviness you have processed has lightened the load for those who come after. The third key, your visibility now matters. For decades, your work was invisible, processing, holding, enduring. That phase is complete. The new phase requires visibility. Not fame, not platform, not followers, but visible presence. Showing up, as you actually are, in the spaces where you exist, no longer hiding your depth, no longer apologizing for your intensity, no longer pretending to be less than you are. When a lighthouse soul becomes visible, something happens in the field around them. Others relax. They feel permission to be themselves. They sense that depth is possible, that authenticity is survivable, that there is another way to be human. You do not need to teach anyone anything. Your presence teaches. The master practice is simple. Every morning, before the noise of the day begins, sit in silence for 10 minutes. Not meditation with goals. Not visualization with outcomes, just silence. During this silence, ask one question. What does my soul want me to know today? Then listen, not for dramatic revelations, for subtle knowing, a word, a feeling, a direction. Trust what comes, even if it seems too simple, even if it seems too strange. The soul speaks quietly, but it always speaks, and the more you listen, the louder it becomes. Write one thing per week, not for anyone else, for yourself, whatever is moving through you. The act of writing pulls what is invisible into form, and lighthouse souls who never give form to what they carry eventually collapse under the unmanifested weight. Writing releases pressure, it completes circuits, it allows the energy to move through instead of getting stuck. Speak your truth once per day, one authentic statement to anyone. It can be small. I need rest. That doesn't resonate with me. I feel something shifting. The specific content doesn't matter. What matters is the practice of not hiding, of letting your inner world touch the outer world, once per day, consistency over intensity. Now, the difficult question, what happens if you don't wake up? If you reach the end of this life still waiting for the real thing to begin? There is no punishment. The universe does not work that way. But there is weight. The weight of knowing At the very end, that something essential was never done, that the capacity was there, the timing was right. The opportunity was present, and it was missed. Not from malice, from hesitation, from waiting for perfect conditions, from not trusting what you knew. This weight carries forward, not as karma in the punitive sense, as momentum. What wasn't completed here must be attempted again elsewhere, under conditions you cannot predict. That is why now matters, not because of fear, because of precision. You are here, in this body, at this age, in this moment, because all conditions are aligned. The window is open, and windows do not stay open forever. Here is what completion looks like, not achievement, alignment. Every day you choose presence over distraction, you fulfill the mission. Every day you choose depth over surface, you anchor the frequency. Every day you show up as yourself, without apology, without performance, you strengthen the field. It is not about doing something extraordinary. It is about being consistent in something ordinary. Consistency is the lighthouse's secret. It doesn't shine more brightly than other lights. It just never stops shining. You have always known something was different about you. Now you know what it is. You are a lighthouse soul, part of a generation that incarnated to hold steady while the world transforms. Your intensity was not a mistake. Your depth was not a burden. Your questioning was not rebellion. It was all preparation, and the preparation is complete. Now, the mission is live. Breathe deeply. Place your hand on the center of your chest. Feel what has always been there, waiting for you to remember, and say, aloud or silently, I am here. I am awake. I will not dim my light. I will not abandon my post. I am a lighthouse, and I will shine until the crossing is complete. For the next 7 days, 10 minutes of silence each morning, 1 act of authentic expression each day, 1 written reflection each week. On the 7th day, notice what has shifted, not in the world, in you. If these words found their way to you, leave in the comments, I am here. Not for me, for yourself, to mark the moment when you stopped waiting and started shining. The lighthouses are turning on, one by one, across the world, and you are one of them.